Hello, everyone. Welcome back for season 2023 for the third year running of the Carlton Wrap. And I'm joined by, I'm going to say co-host because I'm certainly not a single host anymore. I've got Kira and Ari back with me. We've lost Tori and Jazz this one, and I'm sure they'll feature back during the season. But for now, I've got the average age of about 14 because of Ari on this podcast. So I'll start with the 14-year-old. Ari, how are you?
It's good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, mate. Thank you very much for having me on again. It's been pretty good lead up to the season. So celebrated my 6th birthday the other week, which was good. So can't wait to crack into things.
Lollipops? Was that what it was?
Lollipops? No, it was Action Indoor Sports.
Indoor sports.
Yeah.
Big indoor sports. We're not.
Yeah, I've got the trophy in the other room as well. I'll bring it later.
I do actually have one of those in my room for my 8th birthday party.
I've got like 12. It's great. It's so good.
I don't have any, so...
No, that's a shame.
That's disappointing. Well, Kira, apart from your missing of indoor sports trophies, how are you going?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Thanks for having me on again. Just excited for footy to be back.
Okay, well, I'm going to take it down a notch. I'm not that excited.
What a surprise. What a surprise.
No, look, this has actually been the quickest off season in a long time because it's been the happiest time of my life when this team hasn't been playing. I've been actually able to relax. I have been able to not think about what stress could be caused on Saturday or Sunday. It's just simply the weekend now, which is great.
Yeah, but you're missing the high of a win.
Yeah. I sometimes think that, and then I also think about the 21-day period in which I wanted to kill myself effectively, from round 21 to 23, 24, and then the finals. So
yeah, okay, me too. But
yeah, I just think about that.
Well, yeah, exactly. You say it's like the high of a win. When was our last win? Like August? No, not even August. Was it August? Was that Giants game August?
Are we really rehashing this again?
That was our last win.
No, I'm just saying. No, okay, look. All right. Look, we'll move on. Okay, well, this is a very improv podcast. We're just going to simply talk about what's on our mind. And it's like a preview, but we're not going to go like player by player by player because we'll actually talk too much. And Ari and I'm pretty sure we recorded like an hour and a half last year doing player by player.
Yeah, so before I started recording, before I joined the call, I looked at our chat log, and there was a recording for 1 hour and 47 minutes. So I think it was that one, yeah.
Lovely.
So, yes, to be safe, we're going to keep it shorter. But we'll say that in like an hour and 4 minutes will be the timestamp for this whole thing. So
this is part 1.
But, okay, we've had part 1. Yeah, well, I feel like talking about pre-season isn't much to talk about. Like, I felt like the lead up this whole season was the exact same as last year.
Yeah.
Any different thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a bit different in terms of last year we didn't know. Now we kind of know a lot more. Last year was a little bit more
blind hope.
Yeah, blind hope, uncertainty, like not really knowing anything because it was a completely new regime, completely new everything. Whereas this year we've got a little bit more of an idea, which I don't know if that makes me more or less nervous considering what actually happened last year.
It makes me more nervous.
Yeah.
I think it's a different kind of nervous. Like last year I was just nervous that it would be another coach that ended up being absolutely diabolical. But that was the nerves. Whereas this year the nerves are it ending the exact same way it did last year, for one, or B, us not even getting to the stage for it to end that way. And it's just we're not even in the race at all. And it was just an exciting one-off year. So, yeah, the nerves are high.
Yeah. So I get nothing. Go.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know. The nerves are there, but also like we're so used to actually being shit that like we didn't actually do well last year. Like, you look at it in a whole season, we didn't make finals, right?
Well, I think I said this when we last spoke on this. I think we had more. I think overall throughout the season we had more successes than we did failures, but overall the season was a failure.
I agree.
Which is weird, but it's like that's the only way because you can't look at you can't look at every kind of variable that happened throughout the season and come to the conclusion that there was more negatives than there were positives, because there weren't. But it was the ultimate negative. It was like the ace card. It's like we could have played perfect football for every single game. We could have had no negatives, but if we didn't make finals, then that's the ace card. Like that is a utter negative that you can't really like overcome in a sense.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. Well, you guys are just gonna hate shit on me. I just find it tough to get excited still. I'm
not surprised.
Because as soon as if round one goes well, mate, I'll be back on. First one back on. But if we lose, well, look, I'll say I told you so, and I'll say that, look, why'd you get excited? There was no reason to get excited. But I'm not sure. I just don't know what it is. What we learned is that obviously the start of the season doesn't get you into finals, nor does the end of the season, apparently. But this start, I don't know. This start just, I don't know. I don't even know what I think you understand what I'm trying to convey. I just feel like the start, you never want to go too early, but you also know you're not defined by what happens at the start in a good or a bad way.
100%. I think everyone is waiting for the start of the season to see how we're going to go. But at the end of the day, last year we were great at the start of the season, and then we failed at the hurdle that we needed to succeed at the most. So I think we're all excited for round one and to see what happens, and practice matches show you little to none given all of our Wizard Cup wins. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Bring that back. Bring the NAB Cup back. I mean, that is the only bit of success we've ever seen. So I would be looking at it as a positive and thinking we've actually seen something. But no, yeah, I take little to none based off preseason, because I think about a couple of different things. Firstly, I think about the fact that last year we were 10 goals up against the team that started the season 12 and zip. And the only reason that we didn't win that game by 10 goals is because in the second half we had a forward line of Lockie Plowman and Tom Williamson and Luke Parks, right? And we thought you respect.
Dangerous.
And we thought you respect. And despite me putting $10 on Plowman to win the Coleman, I don't really think that screams dangerous forward line, to me anyway. So, yeah, and also the fact that like Gold Coast beat Geelong last year in the bracket games, so it's like
Geelong got absolutely smashed this year.
Yeah, so it's like who? I mean, it tells you some things. It tells you a couple of things. It tells you things about some players and some potential roles. But I wouldn't be like I think if we suck this year, like if we don't make finals and if we're bad, it's not because of the practice game. It's because we just suck. So it's like we could have won this game we could have beaten Sydney by 100 points and still sucked. But it's just because we're bad. It's not because we lost the practice game in a sense.
Well, good segue. Let's talk about the two practice matches, Collingwood and Sydney. I actually didn't really watch. Like, I watched the Sydney game. The Collingwood one I didn't get to as much. I was telling Kira pre-show. I was at work, came home late that night, watched the first quarter and fell asleep, and sort of just watched the highlights after that. But Sydney game, of course, the one we get battered in is the one I watched start to finish, really. But general thoughts. Let's go around the room, and I'll start. I'll go last. So let's start with Kira. Ari, come back to me. But general thoughts.
I didn't care that it was a practice match. We needed to beat Collingwood. I don't care. Like, I was at work watching it at work, and everyone that was at work was like, Kira, you need to relax. It's a practice match. I don't care that it's a practice match. It's Collingwood, and I'm still scarred from round 23, so we've got to win. So I was very glad that we got that win. Don't really, didn't read too much into the game other than the fact that we beat Collingwood, and that was great. And then Sydney, well, yeah, look, Sydney was not our best performance. I was not very impressed with that at all. We looked just like bad, to put it quite frankly. I turned it off at halftime. I was like, it's too early in the season for me to be getting angry over this. I'm not letting my emotions go wild in preseason. So I turned it off. But I think a few individuals looked really good. Cowan looked incredible. I think he'll be in the side very early on. So I think there's positives we can take individually, but I think as a team, preseason hasn't given us much at all.
Yeah, I echo Kira's thoughts. I think the Collingwood game was I don't know. I just wanted to win. I just wanted to. It's so petty. Like it is just the pettiest thing. But I just feel like we had to win, and we did, and we played well. Like apart from that, what was it, 5 goal stretch in the second quarter? I thought we played well. We held them off in the back end of the game, which is something that we couldn't do in round 23, but we can do in a practice game, which is great. Really we did it when it matters. That's the main thing. Yeah, which was good to see. At least the Sydney game, I watched the first quarter and then I switched it off because I was gallivanting and indulging in other activities at the time. But I'm glad I didn't watch it. I'm glad I didn't watch it because I was checking the scores and I was just laughing because I had the preconceived notion that whatever happened that game, I just wasn't gonna care either way. Like it's like I'm not saying what I'm saying about practice games because as like a safety blanket. I say it because I mean it. Like we could have won that game by 10 goals and I would have been like, yeah, it's great that we won. If you had said to me before both games that you'd win both, I'd take that over losing both. But I don't think it's like end of the world. We need to change everything type of thing. But yeah, I think some individuals are good. That's what I was looking for, like looking at individuals, whether or not they can like take the step up. Cowan, of course, was a standout. So I think we're going over old ground by speaking about him, but he was very good. Of course, I thought Chara was okay in terms of he wasn't. I don't think he played on the wing for any of the preseason games, which was good to see considering that we kind of pushed him out there last season. I don't really think it worked, but yeah, and some other individuals good. Good to see Harry Mackay kicking drop punts from where he would normally snap them though, which was something I noticed very early on in the Collingwood game, which is gonna please a lot of people. It's annoyed me, but it's gonna please a lot of other people.
I mean, my thoughts are similar. I'm a bit odd with practice games. Not that I think they mean a lot, but like I just look at previous years, and if we get smacked in practice games, it generally means a bad season. But I guess we also had pretty shit teams back then as well, so like they were going to get battered in practice games.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't hate that we got smashed by Sydney, but it was like you compare it just to last year, right? They came in on a high. They beat St Kilda and then they beat Melbourne, right? And then it translated very well to round one. They were on a high, and not that it's odd because like we're technically a decent team now, so you don't really like. It's actually hard to predict what's going to happen now. But the Collingwood game looked good. Just you can tell there's very established links within that team that know how to move the ball well, and it was breaking Collingwood open. The forward line is always. That's the only thing about our forward line is it's very just Harry or Charlie, and then the smalls are going to crumb whatever. But I guess we don't. Like our smalls aren't great lead up, hit up targets at the same time. So it's, it's not awesome. But yeah, the Sydney game was just crap. There was really nothing good about it. It was just tough to watch. I don't know. The only thing that frustrated me, I tweeted about it, is like Voss literally said, I think it was Voss, right? He said to the media, he's like, those are the two teams we specifically, wanted in these practice games because they. Gave us the most challenges last year. Then, like, you did nothing though. Like, literally nothing. We got battered by them. Like, I don't even understand Collingwood as well. Like, Collingwood just broke us in the last quarter. Like, we dominated Collingwood. Sydney, we also beat as well, convincingly beat for the most part. Yeah. So, like, odd choices, but I guess they're the experts.
I would have liked to see a practice game against the Suns and St Kilda personally. They're the teams we need to beat.
They are the teams.
We should have played a round robin against North, Adelaide, St Kilda, GWS, and Gold Coast and Essendon.
Adelaide at Adelaide Oval.
Yes, we should have played. We should have done our pre-season at Adelaide Oval and Gold Coast and Metricon. I don't care who we versed. Just get those teams down pat, and the rest will figure itself out. We need to beat the shit teams because we can't do that apparently.
No, we're bad at that.
I don't know. Look, I didn't take too much out of it. There was nothing like there were concerning things from the Sydney game, but hard to like criticize them a lot when it's not a full team that's made those errors at the same time. Like if it was the full strength team, you would say, yeah, well, they're clear errors, but how many of those guys are going to be playing in round one? Not too sure. But yet again, let's segue. So go.
No, I was just going to say, Voss was laughing at the end of the game, and I don't think he's much of a laugher on game day. So if he wasn't concerned, I think it'll be all right. He was pretty chill with it. So clearly he wasn't too disappointed.
Yeah. I think, does Voss have credits in the bank to the point where we can trust him? Because obviously we started really well, but then obviously the back end wasn't that great. So it's like, if we had got like, I don't know, if like Alistair Clarkson was like laughing at the end of a preseason game, it's like, all right, you can trust him to like do something. Or like if it's, I don't know, if it's like a Simon Goodwin who's won a premiership, or like a Damien Hardwick, it's like, all right, they've succeeded, they've done what they need to do, they know what they're doing. If they're laughing, then it's fine. Whereas like, I don't know, if Brendan Bolton was laughing or if David Teague's laughing after a game, it's like, right, okay, there may be there's something going on here. I don't know where Voss sits on that scale.
When Teague and Bolton were laughing after the game, I was like, ropeable. I'm like, how dare you laugh after a game? But I think Voss showed us last year that he's not a laugher on game day. He's very serious. So that gave me a bit of hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it reminds me of the fan cams from the Giants game in 2021, and it was when Brett Stanton laughed. Like I watched this like 2 weeks ago just to remind me, and Brett Stanton laughed, and Paulo came on, Pommy came on, but they were just absolutely giving it to it. It was hilarious. Like it's just so funny, like watching that stuff back and thinking like that was like only 2 years ago, and it probably could be this year at this point. So that's not really distant memory.
That feels like 20 years ago. Honestly,
it's just hilarious to watch. All right, but let's talk about some players that played well. Might as well talk about the 2 new recruits, Hollands and Cowan. Now, on Cowan, I got to watch him a little bit last year, when Sandy played him once, and they played a prelim the game before Sandy, so I got to watch them. Cowan looks like he's 25 years old, and he looked like he was 25 years old last year playing against 18-year-olds. He stood out like I just remembered seeing this bloke like looks 2 meters tall, built like Patrick Cripps, and he's just running off the half-back line. And you're thinking like this bloke isn't actually 18. Like those Middle Eastern footballers that are like apparently like 15, but like their actual age is like 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a bit like that.
They're playing in the under 18s
anyways,
They're playing in the under 18s World Cup with a mortgage and kids. Yeah.
It was literally like that. He was just huge, and he looks like he's built for AFL, which is great. And he was giving it all, and I was liking what I was seeing. They're saying like the new and improved Liam Stocker, which
I was
fair
just about
enough.
to say that.
I mean, that's
careful. Touchy subject.
Statement.
No, I was going to say that. I think.
Well, no, I liked him.
I can go, Kira.
Oh, I think, like Stocker, I loved Stocker, but I think he's got that physicality that I was worried we would lose when we lost Liam. And I think he was just running into people on the weekend. Like he just had no regard for his safety whatsoever. So I think that gave me a little bit of a hope that won't all be lost when we lost Stocker.
Yeah, but how long until he runs into like, I don't know, Nane Curvis and dislocates his shoulder round 1?
Well, we'll cross that path when it happens, Ari.
Well, that's what I thought. I know we're going to touch on Hollands in a second, but it's like Hollands, he's like, with all due respect to him, and I'm sure if I met him, he could punch my head so far it'd come out my backside, right? But he isn't exactly built, right? He isn't exactly a physically dominant, like a physically intimidating player at this stage anyway. So I know Cowan's a little bit different, but it's like, I don't know. I'm always just trading a little bit careful with kids, especially now when we play such a contested style and it is very crash and bash at times. Just I'm trading with caution for the most part, but no, Cowan looked good in particular.
Does he walk in round 1?
I mean, depending on if Marchbank and Gov get up, I think Gov is all but confirmed. I know Harold Sun did a predicted it's 18 or particularly 22, and they had Gov in, Marchbank still out. So I don't know, but he isn't the worst safety blanket in the world, considering Jordan Boyd's absence, considering Zach Williams' absence. Yeah, it's better that we've got him as our third choice halfback other than, I don't know, someone like a Matthew Dick or someone that we've had in the past. So the standards are leveling up, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll walk in because I do think Gov will play, but I think he's a pretty good second option.
I don't know. Chuck him in if he's ready. Honestly, like, put anyone in, right? If as long as we're winning, actually couldn't care. Like, just he looks ready though. Like, maybe it's just a jump in the gun, but like, just based on it, like, he's not needing to build much size. The only thing that will let him down is just a lack of game plan knowledge, purely because he's been there. Well, they get there in November. They probably only start learning the game plan from Jan, right? So it's probably his second or third month. So that's probably the only thing that will stop him getting inside. Otherwise, there was nothing like concerning watching him thinking he's not ready yet. Whereas we talk about Hollands, and he's a very silky mover, knows how to move the football well, and he's a very good runner. I think he had the best 2K time for the whole under 18s last year, and very good endurance runner. So all positives, right? But yeah, his size is just probably going to let him down a bit, especially against a team like Richmond, who will just bash, crash, and then transition. But thoughts on Hollands?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I am treading with caution, and I think that comes with Payte's Day, because how many times we've seen our first round picks bust. No, I'm not thinking of anyone, I promise. And
I'm thinking Sam Walsh instead.
Yeah, exactly, and Jack Burton. We're not thinking about Paddy Dow, trust me. Yeah, I don't know. Hollands is a tough one because if you ask me this in 12 months' time, I say he should be a lock by that stage, in my opinion, unless of course Matt Cottrell becomes the second coming, right? But he should be a lock, and it's something that you need to be very careful with, because we've seen, and we're not talking just about current players, but we've seen time and time again kids be pushed into a spotlight when they aren't ready, and it does not only break them physically but mentally if they don't perform well. If they do get beat up and they do get battered, and it's like physically, it can damage a player. It can damage a player's psyche. But I trust that I trust that whatever we're going to do with him is the right call. Whether that means playing, whether that means make him earn his stripes in the VFL for a month, 2 months, and then bring him in, or whether it means not play him at all this year and make him properly earn it and make him dominate the VFL and then we play him, or whether it means he starts round one. I think whatever we're going to do with him is going to be the right choice. I back the staff in that respect.
Yeah, I think Ari's hit the nail on the head in that one. I think we're past the point of playing kids because we have no other option, and just playing them because we're youthful and we're young and whatever the other excuses we've used over the years. So I think we're past that. And I think the players that play, they're clearly being trusted by the coaching group and they're there for a reason. So if you're in the side, then you're ready to be in the side and not just there because we have no other choice.
Well, look, I compare him to Lockie O'Brien, and you know who I'd choose in a battle between those two, right? But actually, let's talk about Paddy Dow, just genuinely for a piss take. But you brought it up, and I was like, "Do I talk about it?" But he has literally done nothing. Like
that's Sydney game.
He's done nothing. Like, he actually talked up like he was going to come back and like become the next Chris Judd of this team, and he's just like, I've never seen, like, players should be going like that just over the course of their career. He's the same. Like, he genuinely hasn't done anything. How?
That Sydney game, no Cripper and Walsh, that was his opportunity to take, and he just didn't. Like, how many opportunities can we give him? Like, time's running out, I think.
Time ran out a decade ago.
I know, but we're still holding on to a little bit of hope.
I don't know. Dow's a weird one. Dow's a weird one because, I mean, I think we all love the idea of Paddy Dow. The idea of this quick, explosive midfielder who can take the ball out of traffic and like quick hands, instinctive in the way that he plays. We all like the idea of him, right? And we all know his deficiencies. He isn't the best kick. He isn't the best ball user. But if it's weird, like his big assets, if they are used properly and if he can get a run on, he's very good, right? So it's not like his ceiling is rubbish. His ceiling is quite high. It's just that he's been about 10 meters from that ceiling for about 5 years, ever since he got drafted. So it's like there hasn't been that much improvement, which is annoying. And considering the fact that we are past this whole development, play the kids, get youth into the team, we're past that stage now. Make or break this season. I think it's been make or break for the last couple of seasons. He's just lucky that he's got a contract that he can rely on, in my opinion.
Yeah. I thought it was done last year. I don't like. He was barely worth anything at the end of last year, and like, what's he going to be worth by the end of this year? Like, genuinely nothing. Like, what's the point of getting in a third rounder? I mean, I guess it's great for depth, but you got to really hit the nail on the head with a third rounder if you got something, Well, actually, the first thing, which other club would take him?
North, probably.
Maybe, but they've actually
the new Tassie team will take him. The new Tassie team will take him.
Team, if that ever happens.
Yeah.
If he'll get a start in that one.
Yeah.
Captain.
He'll be the captain.
Captain Paddy for Tassie.
Yeah. There you go. Get that trending.
Captain Paddy.
There we go. There's one. So this is where the improv part goes a bit out of the. Don't really know where to go with this. Okay, yeah. Blake Acres. Let's talk about Blake Acres and what we thought of him. I'll start. I liked what I saw. He's just an improved Lockie O'Brien, but not dramatically though. I've said this on record in these podcasts that I don't think he's anything special. He's simply was never very good at St Kilda. Yeah, hence why he moved. And then Freo, he did improve his game, but I don't think he's going to be a game changer. He's literally just a better Lockie O'Brien. That's a bit bigger and able to move a bit better, hit some targets with both feet, not just the left foot. So it was good. Like, he does fit in. He does fit in well, but I guess no negatives. I just didn't I didn't look at him and think that was what we needed. It's just a good asset. But other opinions?
Yeah, I don't think he was brought in to be a star. I think every team just needs their role players, and I think he's just brought in to play a role. As long as he plays his role and plays it decently enough, then I think he'll be a solid asset to the team and someone that will be glad we brought in. But I don't think he was brought in to, win a game off his own boot or anything like that.
Yeah, this is going to sound really harsh, but I promise this is a compliment. Every team needs a player that you somewhat forget about.
Mm.
Every team needs that player who and it's the most, like, people use the term selfless a lot. Like, it's literally the most the selfless role, most selfless role you could ever do, because you're not even doing the pretty stuff and you're not even getting any plaudits for it. You're literally there to just fill a hole. And I think he's there to just do his job. I thought he was okay against Sydney. I thought he was, from what I saw, I thought he was okay. Like, he was, I mean, the last game he played for Freo, he was best on for them anyway in the semi-final, right? Which is more than a lot of our other players have done in their careers. So
imagine playing in a final.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So yeah, I just think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. I think if it kicks Lockie O'Brien out of the team, then Nathan will be a happier man, and then we will all be happier because of that.
I don't think Lob's improved. I didn't look at him and think, damn, he's got better. He's still the same. Like, actually, to be fair, I didn't watch close enough to see if he was actually manning his player and running after his player. So I guess I'll watch that on round one, because that's what actually pissed me off about him. It's not his kicking's good, right? He can kick on a left foot, which, if, like I said, it's his only asset, right? But he can't do. He's after that. Well, what's he providing? Not much. If he's improved that, fair enough. I'll let him go for the season. That's a load of shit. But I'll give him.
I just want to interject. Maybe we can play Setterfield on the wing and replace.
You don't understand. Oh, you know what? It killed. I watched the whole St Kilda Essendon game.
Me too.
I mean,
Why?
Even well, actually, if I didn't have to work, I would have gone to it. It's really, for me, it's close. But I was like, there's nothing on a Friday afternoon. Might as well watch it. That was depressing watch. Like I was like, Centerfield, like, damn, like imagine it's like you're at a workplace you just don't want to be at, and I'm making that assumption. Like, there's no way he genuinely walked in there and thought, I'm actually going to play the best footy in my career. I'm going to enjoy every moment. Like I'm still hurt. Like
He actually played all right though.
Yeah, but how hard's that, right? In that team.
Yeah, I was
genuinely, Lockie O'Brien will be the best player in Essendon if he walked in.
I was going to say we've had Tom Bell play very well for us when we were rubbish. So the standards, right?
Yeah.
And it was just sad.
I mean, with all due respect,
good for him. He did well. He did well for Essendon, but the standards aren't that high. So fair enough, but that's all right. Lockie O'Brien stays on the list, right? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, let's please not talk about it. All right, who's next? Let's talk about your man. Let's talk about your man, Plough.
I'll take the floor with this one.
Go on.
I'll take. So what are we talking? 35 votes? 30 votes in the Brownlow, or what are we thinking? Because I've got a multi for over 30 in the Brownlow and over 35 goals for the season. But in all seriousness, like I don't know. See, Plough's a weird one because I know it's kind of somehow become, and I hesitate to say this word, but my brand, to be enough for Ploughman. But in all seriousness, I do think he's the definition of a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 player. And when you have a player that's ceiling, because he's never, no matter how, I mean, with all due respect to Lockie, if you're watching, like no matter how hard you could probably prove me wrong, but I don't think he's going to become Tom Stewart anytime soon, right? But that's fine because once again, like we saw with Akers, we don't need stars. And Plough's a player who can play a couple of different roles. We've seen him do that in different periods of the club when he's been here. And he's a player that I think has been. I think this thing about Plough that has gone very kind of understated is that he's very, very rarely, if never, injured. And for a team that has been brutalised and basically lost their finals berth because of injuries, for a player that he might not be Zach Williams, he might not even be someone like a Lockie Cowan, but the fact that he is fit 99% of the season is a good thing. It can only be a good thing.
Never have I ever thought about the fact that Ploughman is never injured.
Yeah. Well, like it's something that I think if this is it, right? When you're in a team, if the team's deficiencies are blatantly obvious, whoever can counteract those deficiencies should become blatantly obvious as well. Because it's like, all right, if our team can't kick, and then all of a sudden there's one bloke who's hitting targets left, right, and centre. It's like, oh yeah, that guy can kick. It's the same thing here. If all of our team's injured, it's like, oh my God, Plough is never injured. He's one of the very few players who's never injured. Well, we had 3 players who played all 22 games. We had I think it was maybe past round 4, we had more than 10 players on an injury list or something, some stats like that. Like it's kind of, there's a lot of bad, but there is some good, which a lot of people, for whatever reason, just blatantly disregard because he laughed after getting 5 goals kicked on in one game because of some tactical incompetency. Like he doesn't choose to be bad. Like it's not exactly his fault.
No, I agree. Like he hasn't played bad. Like he just has those rough moments that.
Yeah, but who doesn't?
Well, exactly. I don't think I've ever shat on him properly. I've always had criticisms, but I have criticisms of a lot of players evidently. But he's been pretty good, and the beard for a while made him look pretty.
Intimidating.
He was out there, right? He was out there.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, here's something: if Lockie Ploughman was a forward, no one would bat an eyelid about him.
No,
because if you just literally picked him up and put him as a forward, and everything about him was the same, his injury record, his mistakes, his efficiencies, his deficiencies, everything, right? if everything was the same, no one would really bat an eyelid because he'd still make the same amount of mistakes. But if he makes a mistake in the forward line, he's got a midfielder and a defense to make sure he doesn't look like an idiot. Whereas it's just the fact that he's the last line of defense that if he makes a mistake, it's obviously you cop a goal 9 times out of 10. And I think that goes to show just how good most of our other defenders are, because I can't think of the last time any of our other defenders have made a drastic, horrible mistake, whether that's been not manning a man up or whatever, right? So I think, funnily enough, instead of shitting on Plough, we should be saying, okay, if Plough's the worst that we've got, what about how good everyone else is, type thing? Because Plough's not that bad. He's not that bad.
No, he's not.
Well, to mention just quickly, just to go back to your tweets, you did say how good has Plowman played lock for round 1, in my opinion, and then 30 seconds later, in the pocket he drops it and it just leads to a run in open goal. So that's why people dislike him at times, I must say. But no, look, it'd be very harsh to shit on him at the moment until he really has a bad string of games. But otherwise, it's just been good.
What did he do poorly last year? Tell me.
I'm not the one shitting on him.
I'm just saying.
Why are you asking me?
I'm just
saying. Why doesn't this out on us?
Yeah, okay. Anyone who's watching this, tweet at me and tell me one bad thing you did last year. I can guarantee you, if you find one, I'll find you something good that you did. Guaranteed.
Well,
and I'm exclusively talking 2022 because I know there's previous where he has done some bad things, but still.
Okay, well, I think that's really it for the players. Enough for us to talk about us. We will be for too long because, your usuals are going to do usual stuff. So there's no point getting into them. So let's talk. I'm going to set this podcast up for the room. We're going to talk round 1 and then we're going to just do our general season predictions and then that's it. And then it will be 2 hours after that. So
yeah. Put the kettle on if you're watching.
Okay, round 1. This will be released exactly a week before. Just general, what are we thinking? Because I'm so pessimistic. I don't think you've been able to get that vibe off this.
What a surprise!
I've probably been the most optimistic this whole episode, but in terms of how I'm feeling, right, I'm very pessimistic. I don't have a fear of losing. I have a fear of just feeling like shit again. That's what it is. It's not even we lose and it's not over, but it's it's that whole thing of you just have to wait another week until another game and you just keep going and going and going. You just want to start well. And I don't really care if we went 10-0 because obviously it means nothing. So it's just a matter of I just would like to win. I just don't want to get belted. If we lose, I just don't want to get belted, right? That's all I want. Simply all I want from this game.
I would like to not get belted and not lose by under 5 points because I just don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would rather lose by 100 than lose by 1. So.
Yeah. I also think Richmond will be better this year. I think they'll be a lot stronger than they were last year, even though they made finals and we didn't. But I hope we win. I really do. But I think once again, like we were talking about earlier on in the pod, I think we've learnt now that it's not all about the start of the season because look how it can end.
In heartbreak.
Well, okay. Well, this is my statistic here as well. This is my whole thing. We don't play well against Richmond. We don't do well against them. And people forget that round 1, we were it was close for the first, quarter and a bit, but we got belted by them. And then it wasn't until we just came out of nowhere in the last quarter and put 8 goals on them. But otherwise, they dominated us for the most part. They did exactly what they do every other year. They kill us on transition. Their speed is always way too much for us. And then the round 14 game, they killed us. They were up by 40 points at one stage, and we just had our moment and came back. But you just can't keep doing that. We just can't keep doing that every time we play them. We either have to get off to a good start or stick with them, because I just feel like it's the same story each year. And we didn't get lucky to win round 1. We put everything into it and we won convincingly. But I just can never be confident going into Richmond. We just never have. We haven't proved in the past that we can really just go in and beat them. Richmond can say that they can go in and beat us because they know how to beat us. We don't know how to beat them still, apart from quarter 4 of last year.
I think I'm in the minority, but I really don't care how we win. I just want to win. Like, I don't care if we're getting absolutely smashed in all parts of the ground and win by 3 points. Like, as long as we win, I think I'd be happy. Although it would be nice to have a convincing win. I really don't care how it happens as long as we get the 4 points.
Yeah, I think there's another certain side that showed last year that doesn't matter how you win as long as you win. That's all that matters. So,
Collingwood.
how'd you guess?
Was it Collingwood? I
How'd
thought
you
it was
guess?
Gold Coast for a second.
Yeah. No, it was North, mate. What are you talking about? No, yeah, just win. Just please win. I'm with Kira. I don't care. Just win. It could be 3-5, and we win. I genuinely couldn't care less. As long as I just want to win. I just want to see Carlton top. I just want to see Carlton top again. We saw it. We didn't even see it last year because bloody Melbourne were top. So I just want to see Carlton top. We haven't seen us top since 2012.
That's so sad.
I just want to see us first. And we played the first game of the season every year. I just want to see us top. If I can see Carlton and then the number 1 next to it,
you'll be a happy man.
Yeah, I'll be a happy man. I'll be content for 7 more days until we get smashed by Geelong and it's all struggle straight again.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm sort of with you too. Like I don't care how we win as long as we win. But like I just don't want to go down by like 20 points and then sit there like what now? Like I just don't think I'm interested to see if our like 7-8 goal pylons that we had a couple times during the year. Like I'm interested to see if that's going to happen again this year. Like it's very hard to tell. Like you just won't know, and we never saw it coming either. Like even with Collingwood, like it was 20 points down at half time, and then it's like it just happens out of nowhere. I don't know. I think Richmond will have 100% looked at tape. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, that's literally how we beat them, and both times as well. So, how do you combat that when they shut that down? What are we going to do? So, I don't know. It's stressing me out.
Yeah, why are we doing
too
this?
much to think about.
Why are we doing this? I'm just stressed for no reason.
No, it's getting me. It's getting me in the mood. It's getting me in the mood.
To what?
Just to feel like shit.
Yeah, to be depressed. I don't like to be in that mood. I was very happy 55 minutes ago, and then we started speaking about this, and now I'm just anxious again.
It's gone downhill. Okay, well, what are the actual predictions from this game? I'll start. I think this is going to be the closest game, like Carlton Richmond game, since I don't actually think we've had very close games with them, like in round 1. I think the closest was like 25 points. Like it's never really been under that.
No, I think we lost by 9 points in 2016.
That one, but they sort of were beating us most of the time anyway. I don't think it was like, I don't remember it being a thrilling finish, but I think like this will be like genuinely start to finish. I think it will be just a bit mad. I think both teams will just have no clue what they're doing for most of it. I think this will be 2 goals or under. I don't know who's going to win either. I don't really actually have a prediction of who's going to win. I just think it'll be really close.
Well, my answer is depicted on one very key factor, and it's whether or not Ed Sheeran has decided to stuff everything up for everyone. That's my that is my if I rock up. Yeah, my man. Yeah, great concert.
Did you see the photo of the ground?
No, Tom Brown's exclusive.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, he probably hid in like behind the advertising board. It's if I rock up to the JN, it's literally a cow paddock. Then it's like, all right, great, we're gonna get absolutely smashed because that literally plays directly into Richmond's hands. Obviously, I'm being a little bit like hyperbolic, but I just don't. I'm not filled with confidence, but I'm not pessimistic because the hurdle of actually beating Richmond is so understated because it's like we had this just mental block of no matter how well we played, no matter how poorly we played, no matter how average we played, like there could be no factor that could have changed the fact that we would always lose to them, right? So now we finally won. I know we didn't win. I know we lost, like our most recent game was a loss, but the fact that we finally won, I just feel like that was just going to put a lot of, like, just going to set the group at ease a little bit. I'm not filled with confidence, but I'm not filled with any pessimism. I just reckon Well, my theory behind it is last year, Kerno and Mackay kicked none between them in that game in round 1. And if they decide to rock up and actually take some marks and kick some goals, we're in business.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. We're winning by like 33 points.
Yeah.
As if you just said that, like 33 points. Shut up. Like that's
actually.
You know what? Fair play if you get that, but
I changed my mind. Carlton by 63.
Oh.
There you go. It's gonna be how like when they beat us in 2017, and Dusty had like 50 touches and kicked 12 goals. It's gonna be the same, but it's gonna be Paddy Dow.
Does that mean we're them winning the flag?
Yeah, of course. Dow is his breakout game. Has 35 kicks 4, wins the Brownlow, Norm Smith, and win the flag. I'm calling it from
brilliant.
The thing with this game is like if you win, it's like great. Geelong couldn't care if we win or lose, right? Like you won the first game, you can go into ease knowing that even if you lose to Geelong, you're 1-1. So it's not 0-2, but you lose against Richmond. It's like I'm sure they're going to have this whole thing of come out and like you don't want to lose the second game. They'll give everything in round 2, but it's like it's Geelong. Like it's not GWS you're playing in round 2. You're playing Geelong.
Yeah.
I think you could give them everything and you're probably still not going to win. So okay, this is a good. So,
do you reckon that puts more pressure on the group and they'll crumble under that? Because we saw last year they couldn't exactly handle pressure that well, could they?
Oh, you reckon?
I don't know what makes me say that. It's just a hunch, but every time pressure came on, I don't know what happened, but I can we handle it now? Have we matured enough as a group to handle it?
I hope so.
Yeah, same. We'll be
I don't. Based on no, look.
You don't.
How can you like? This is the thing with mindset. Well, no, I'm just saying. How can you? They've got a poor mindset, right? They don't know how to win games. That doesn't just happen. Like it doesn't just come. Like having an off season doesn't just make you come back and think we're gonna win it now. Like we can do it. Like,
Collingwood finished second last 2 years ago, and they won every game by the skin of their teeth in the back end of the season. They know how to win. I granted that's not the grand final, but still,
like when is that gonna? That's not gonna happen again. Like, don't want to speak too soon, but that won't happen again. It better not happen again.
And what happens if it does?
It won't happen again.
What happens if it does? What happens if it does?
Well then,
what happens if Gold Coast win the flag? What happens if Gold Coast win the flag? They
Metricon, mate.
Yeah, party Metricon. Yeah. They don't know how to win.
It's not Metricon anymore.
What is it? Heritage Bank Stadium, mate.
Oh, that is Jesus Christ. We know how to win. We do know how to win. It's just that it's steps, right? To first run, you need to walk, and then to walk, you need to crawl. So it's like we knew how to win, and then we figured out how to win well. So like we knew how to win. This is a very good point I'm about to make. But we knew how to win when no one expected us to win. So the motivation factor was the motivation factor was everyone is like going to doubt us. Everyone is going to say that we can't win. Richmond round 1, no one thought we could do that, right? But we won. Same with the Dogs. We won that. And then we're 10 goals up or 6 goals up against Hawthorn in round 3. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, you're going to win now. And then it's like, oh no, we can't handle that. Same with Port. Or even Gold Coast the next week. Everyone thought we'd go in, we'd win. Didn't happen. Same with the Port the week after that. We know what everyone was kind of like, oh, are they going to win? They come off a poor loss. And then bang, right? We go to a great start. Everyone's like, oh, we're going to win. And then we can't handle it. Same with St Kilda. Everyone's like, oh, surely we'll beat St Kilda. Don't win that. Surely we'll beat Adelaide. Can't do that. And then it goes to the fact of surely we're going to make finals, right? We can't not make finals. Surely. And then 4 losses in a row to end the season. We can't make finals because we can't handle the expectation of really what should be the bare minimum at that stage. So whenever we need to perform above expectations, I think we're a good side. And I think historically we have been that, right? Historically we have been a side that, for the most part, if it's a big game against a big club, we don't necessarily get smashed more often than not, right? So it's about changing that mindset to having it just a standard mindset for every single game, no matter the opponent, the time, the location, the circumstance. It's win. Just we need to go in and do a job. Nothing fancy, nothing pretty. Just do a job, and that comes with maturity. And one more off season, and especially coming off heartbreak, will aid that maturity. You'd like to think anyway.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, I can see this season going like two ways. It's either going to be really casual, where it's like we're just sort of going to rack up the wins. Like it will be win, loss, win, win, loss, loss. Like it will be very casual, or it's just going to go like really chaotic really quickly. Like 0-2, and then we lose to GWS the next week, and it's like we're done. Like it's like that's it.
Why, Nath? Why can't we have chaos, but the other way? We just
why can't we be 20-0?
I don't know, because it's like if say by the end of let's say by the end of round 5 we're 3-2, right? I just don't see us being like like we could be 3-5 by the end of round 8. Like I just think it will just be like, okay, well we're going to beat this next team. Like it's you can just sort of look at an opponent and think we can beat them, and not look at the record. It's just simply going to be a bit more casual in how you go about week by week. Whereas last year, it's like you look at the last 4 games and you're like, shit, like you actually have to win one of them. It's like, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but in my head, it just is like, I just can feel this going a bit more like fluent, because we know what to expect from this team. Whereas last year, it was like, we were just still getting, used to the idea we were winning games of football.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you go.
I was going to say, this team is motivated by the fear of losing, and we're not motivated by success. Or at least last year we weren't, because if we were motivated by success, we would have got so amped up for those final 4 games, because it's like, we're one step away from finals, and we would have put extra up. Those are the games in which we would have stepped up. But we're motivated in the fear of what happens if we lose. What happens if we lose? What happens if we lose? What happens if we lose? So as soon as we get comfortable, that's when we struggle. As soon as we get comfortable, that's when we struggle. Like I said, we're going to make finals, right? We can't be 8-2 and not make finals. We're going to cruise to finals. That's what happens. We're 10 goals up against Port at halftime. Surely we're going to win. We don't need to put the foot on the gas. We don't need to put the foot to the throat. No, we'll be right. And then what happened? That psychology needs to change.
100%. And I was just going to say, even if it's casual on the field, we are the most uncasual fans ever. So I think whatever happens, it's going to be chaos, because we just know the Carlton Twitter is going to make life chaos.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. But I just want to stay off Twitter. I just can't tweet about them too often. Like you just, like, if you tweet about him, you just know you're going to get sucked in and then reply to another thing and reply to another thing. It's like just don't say anything. Just simply cry on your own. Like just stay away from it.
Or you just tweet very sarcastically about Lockie Plowman, like me.
It's not sarcasm. You genuinely think he's an All-Australian?
50% of it is sarcasm. And I'm not going to let into any secrets about which 50% is. You're just going to hear that yourself. I could genuinely think that Lockie Plowman's an All-Australian level defender. I genuinely could think that. I mean, Nathan thinks Will Satterfield's the best midfielder since Judd, so I don't know how he's laughing at me.
Yeah, well, best Essendon Judd, I guess, but
yeah, right.
That's fine. All right, well, let's wrap up on our just genuine season prediction. I just did a ladder predictor for the rest, which if you don't know what the rest is, you probably don't. But
mate, come on, you need to hype us up. Where have you been if you don't know?
Yeah, mate, we're big time. We are big time.
Wednesday
night, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, Bull Broad live show. Me and Nathan Bang.
So this is a sneak preview of my ladder prediction. But I have us. Where'd it go? I have us finishing 6th, but I also tied on wins with Sydney and Collingwood that are 7th and 8th. So I'm going to say 6th to 8th because it's just based on percentage, right? If you go on Squiggle, you can do every single game and put the scores for whatever or the margin for whatever you think the score will be. So I have us I don't think we can get worse. I think we can have a really bad start, but I also don't think there's just teams you look at, you're like, we can't lose to them even at our worst. It's like the wins will naturally bank, you think, just
don't
generally. No, not in a bad. No, I'm not I'm not saying you look at North and it's like a win, but I'm like also even at our shittest, like are North going to belt us? Probably not. It will still be a pretty competitive game, right? I don't like those type of teams. And then you just naturally
no. Clip this. Yeah, when we get spanked by 10 goals in round 3 against the Giants, clip this.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll clip it. But and then you think naturally you're going to beat Richmond, Fremantle, like those type of teams. You'll beat 2 or 3 of them throughout the year, 3 or 4 if you're lucky, right? So you just naturally, I think we have to make it just based off just math, right? Because I don't think you think Collingwood are going to be shit. I don't know if that opinion still stands, but you think they'll be shit. I don't think they'll be shit. They can't get worse. But even if they that whole thing of even if they lose 50% of those games that were close, they're still getting. They're still good enough. Oh, I don't think Port Adelaide are any good. They lost their chance and they're going to have a tough time. And they'll enjoy the last season of Boak. But otherwise, I'm not looking at Port Adelaide and thinking they're going to jump by any means. I think they've got a potential to do well at parts of the season, but I just that motivation they had when they got to prelims, they've lost it. Like they know they lost their chance. So I don't know. I don't see Port being a genuine threat. I reckon they'll push pretty hard, but I don't think they'll be sitting in the 8. And the Bulldogs are an odd one. I think they'll be very similar. They're so inconsistent, but also we could also be that team as well. I think we could do a Bulldogs this year like they did last year. I don't even remember Bulldogs being good, and they made 8th.
Yeah, I wonder how they made the 8. I wonder.
So, anyways, what are your guys' predictions?
If you want my predictions, check. You would have already seen them because you already. Actually, no, it's next week we're doing it, not tomorrow, is it? I was going to give a plug for the show, but
no, that's why it was a sneak preview to my predictions. But,
yeah. Well, I actually haven't done my predictions. Off the top of my head, I think we'll finish in the top 6. We'll finish in the top 6 with about 15 to 17 wins.
That would be lovely.
14 to 17 wins.
I also haven't done many predictions, but I'm saying 7th. I don't want to put my ceiling too high, but we've got to make the 8. If we don't, I'm following a different sport. Maybe I'll take up soccer. Yeah. Ari, I'll jump on you.
Yes, come on over.
Yeah, follow Chelsea. They're doing good.
Yeah, actually, don't give them. Don't go watch
Don't do that.
Come over. Go to the other Blues in soccer, man. They're just flying at the moment.
Go watch lacrosse. It'll be much better for you.
All right, lacrosse. If we don't make the 8, I'm gonna follow lacrosse.
If we don't make the 8, I'll become an accountant. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, honestly. Who's in Arsenal? We haven't forgot about that whole Arsenal tweet. When they're holding that trophy up at the Emirates at the end of the season.
Look, mate. I can't become an accountant. I can't count. So that is a sticky point, isn't it? I can't count.
Well.
Yeah, that's why it'll probably be like, I'll probably say that, I don't know, Collingwood are going to finish 12th, but with like 15 wins somehow. I don't know.
I have them 8th. Anyway, this is a topic for another day. They're not going to go shit. And I'll be happy. Look, if I'm wrong, not a bad thing.
I think we can all agree that North are going to be terrible again this
year. Yeah, I don't think they can get any better.
All right, Essendon are going to suck. There you go.
Yeah.
Nathan, just say yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look, anyways, this is a Carlton podcast.
You're the one who brought up Collingwood.
Hey, yeah, well, okay, fair enough. All right. Yeah. Anyway, so that's an hour. That's actually an hour. I think it's at 59 minutes because we shit talked for the first 4 minutes before I recorded. So we're at an hour and 4. So I think it's just an hour. So that's good. So imagine Tori and Jazz here. This thing would actually be going for another 30 minutes. So
at least we'll be here next week. This would be a watch along of round 1 if there we are.
That's a good one. All right. Well, thank you two for joining me, and I'm pretty confident you two will be here the next time this podcast is recorded, and I can't tell you when that will be. Every week, review. Apparently.
Round 1 review.
Round 1 review.
Yeah.
It could happen, but don't know if I can be bothered talking about this mob for 24 weeks.
If Carlton win by exactly 63 points, we have to
I'll record every week.
Yeah, done.
I'll record every week. 63.
Preview and review every week.
I'll plus and minus 5 points on that as well.
Okay, sweet, perfect. So if they get in between
58 to 68.
Yeah, 58. That's it. They can't count.
I'll
58 to 68. If we win, yeah, that's done.
Otherwise, expect this podcast
next year.
Next year, mate. Yeah, season review time, baby. We're back.
Exactly.
All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you two for joining me. Appreciate that. Watch the rest, and whenever the AFLW season decides to start up again, and if you want to watch even more depressing Carlton football, and
somehow
Kira talk about that, that's the place to go. Kira's the place for that. But it's pretty. I don't to plug your show now is there's nothing to watch. So
no.
Kira does have a show,
which is probably, with all due respect, Kira, better than actually watching the AFL.
Oh my! It is a great thing at the moment. It is awesome. Yep.
Yes. All right. Thank you too. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.